Your decision to become profound at growth is the single most important choice you will ever make to stand in the reality of what you keep saying you want, of what your soul keeps yelling at you that is your calling, of what you know is your truth. Welcome to the School of Becoming podcast. I'm your host, Tracy Litt. You cannot grow your legacy faster than you grow yourself. You cannot grow your impact faster than you grow yourself. You cannot grow your ability to connect and be connected with faster than you grow yourself. You can't grow your team faster than you grow yourself. You can't grow your wealth and bank account faster than you grow yourself. Are you picking up what I'm putting down, sister? Because I know that you are. So here's the question. Do you know how to grow? Like, actually. Because all of the things you hear, it's an inside job. It's all about the inner game. Go within, healing and ascending and quantum leaping. All of that is growth. The holistic success that you desire and deserve requires you to get good at growing, to be able to lead yourself in that growth. We're having this conversation because the amount of times that I have had conversations with peers and students, incredible women just like you, has been so frequent in the past 90 days that it is inspiring this conversation. So here's what's coming up. I know it's time to be direct and assertive, but I'm afraid to come off bitchy and demanding. Growth. I just realized I've been putting off looking at my P&L and my bank account. Growth. I notice that I'm avoiding telling my partner the kind of help that I need at home. Growth. I need to let my team member go, and I keep avoiding the conversation and questioning the choice. Growth. I just sent my book proposal, and now I want to crawl under the covers and hide. Growth. I said yes to joining you for Mind Magic Live in April, and I feel so guilty about leaving my kids. Growth. I surpassed 7 figures in revenue, and I feel nothing. Growth. I've never been more visible, yet I've never feel less seen. Growth. This is my daughter's last year living at home before she goes to college, and I'm losing it. Growth. I cannot recognize myself, and this was the best year we've ever had. I'm afraid it was a fluke. Growth. It's all about growth. Growth is the point. Growth is the priority. And it's not about the outcome of the growth. That's the bonus you get when you prioritize the growth. Growth is about honoring the objective of your soul, accepting your divine moral responsibility as a spiritual, energetic being, having a human experience. Acknowledging that you are the common denominator. You are the root cause of the effect. You are the source, the creator, and you're actively creating your lived experience in every single moment. Did you hear that? Whatever you're experiencing, you're creating it. All of the examples that I just shared require one thing. Learning how to grow, becoming a master at growth, not how to say affirmations, not how to buffer with shopping and wine, not how to bypass your feelings, not how to push through, not how to keep a gratitude journal. How to grow sustainably, enjoyably, as a way of being, as a way of living. This is about choosing to become a highly conscious woman who is evolving. Period. That's the game. Choosing to become a highly conscious woman who is evolving. So let's define that. And then I'm going to talk to you about the single most important piece of what it takes to become great at growing. Growth means stretching. Growth means discomfort. Growth means growing. I remember when I was little and I would get pain in my knees and I would say to my mom, my knees hurt. And she would say, yeah, those are growing pains. So I want you to imagine that because it's really important to everything that I'm sharing with you. Everything you desire and deserve, everything in your future self, highest self, next level, all these luscious things in your evolution, all of it requires you to stretch. All of it requires you to experience discomfort in an entirely new way, to understand what the discomfort represents, to learn how to actually sit with and get comfortable inside of that discomfort. Growth actually means to grow. There's this warped misconception where somewhere inside of you, and this is like a protective thing, you perceive that the fact that every single person worth listening to in the human growth and spiritual development space tells you, and we can scientifically, biologically prove to you, that growth and comfort aren't friends. Yet, anytime discomfort comes on the scene, because, oh, this is so good, because your system is wired to avoid pain and seek pleasure and put out the least amount of energy for the biggest reward, because your zone of familiarity is where your nervous system perceives that you are safe. Anytime discomfort comes on the scene, this stunning biology that you have that is wired to keep you alive is like, fuck no, this discomfort must mean she's going to die. And then you don't realize it because you haven't become a mind magician yet. You don't realize what's happening because you're also not allowing your NJO, I'm going to talk about that in a minute, your non-judgmental observer, to be your ride or die. And instead, you go into all of these ways of being that buffer against the discomfort so you can move back into a sense of comfort. But then that is the direct opposite of what needs to happen for you to become her, for you to embody your next level. You don't get to be like, oh, yeah, I know it's about discomfort. But then when the discomfort actually happens because it's fucking stretchy and it's actually uncomfortable, when that happens, you need to learn how to love your nervous system, how to recognize it, how to be with it, how to witness it, how to recognize, like for those of you who've had children and you've given natural childbirth or, childbirth and you were aware of what was happening. There is a massive, massive amount of discomfort and contraction that occurs in discomfort, and then there's a massive expansion that takes place. As you are expanding and becoming her and evolving, because remember, you're a conscious woman who's choosing evolution, you know that the discomfort on the other side of that contraction, on the other side of that growth pain, is like, insert whatever the fuck you're working so hard for right now, right? Okay, so that's the first thing I need you to understand. When I'm keep saying to you, are you good at growing? Now you're like, oh shit, okay, I kind of get what she means now. Do you know how to grow? How good are you at growing? And the most important thing here is leading yourself, right? Because you are the one that is with you 24/7, 365. Okay, we'll talk more about that later. So let's keep going. So when we talk about growth and what it means to be good at growth, you understand that piece of what I just said. It also means your ability to reconnect and relate to your body. Growth means cultivating a regulated nervous system and re-imprinting your nervous system. Growth means understanding how to love the prior versions of yourself that are going to come up to be witnessed and integrated every time you embody her, every time you move outside of that zone of familiarity. Growth requires non-judgmentally observing yourself, being willing to see and acknowledge the honesty behind the honesty, right? You can't blow smoke up your own ass. It just doesn't work. It requires untethering from adaptive behaviors like your control and your overfunctioning and perfectionism. It requires learning how to love and diffuse fear, how to understanding the biology of what's happening. Because I'm going to tell you something, Sister Sledge. Fear is omnipresent as you embody your greatness, your success, your impact, your visibility, your intimacy, your vulnerability, your authenticity, your conviction. Growth requires healing. It's one and the same, so that you can release the tethers of any codependency that you might be holding on to, the codependency that's currently limiting you, the codependency that is limiting those you love and those you serve. Growing requires you to drop the resistance and step into presence and allowing. But your nervous system's so good at the resistance. And this is part of why understanding the biology of how this whole thing works is not like, oh, maybe I'll get to that once I have a bigger team, or once I hit 8 figures, or once I XYZ. I cannot love you enough, argue for it enough, show you proof enough to ensure that you understand your decision to become profound at growth is the single most important choice you will ever make to stand in the reality of what you keep saying you want, of what your soul keeps yelling at you that is your calling, of what you know is your truth. Growth requires that you learn how to operate from your inherent wholeness so that you can easily share your convictions, so that you stop meshing and conflating your personal worth and value with the value of what your company offers. When you get good at growing, success is inevitable. Oh, feels so good. And it flows exponentially. Why? Because you're finally focused on the driving force. You, your energy, your alignment, your sovereignty, and your truth. That's the magnet. That's the power source. You can just stop doing everything else and lean in on how to grow. And the kicker is you enjoy growing so much that you detach from all of the outcomes because you finally understand it's never been about the external anyway. Ugh, right? It's never been about the external anyway. Okay, let's take a breath because I want to talk to you about the single most important piece of what it takes to become great at growing. I'm going to invite you to close your eyes for a moment. Take a deep breath in through your nose. Hold it. And slowly exhale. One more deep breath in through your nose. Hold it. And slowly exhale. Okay, you can open your eyes. If they were closed, come back to me. Shake it out a little. So what is the most important piece to become great at growing? It's the way you orient to growth. You have 2 options: victim consciousness or wholeness consciousness. The School of Becoming teaches and will only support your growth and evolution from wholeness consciousness. Yes, we teach it all to you. Let me break it down here so that you get a gist. Victim consciousness is 3rd dimensional consciousness, where you perceive problem, where you perceive that something's wrong with you, unworthiness, inadequacy, fixing, lack. You kind of like, once I heal and grow, and then I'll finally XYZ kind of thing. Orienting to growth from victim consciousness is what keeps people stuck in perpetual self-help, and nothing makes me more Very little gains, very small sustainable shifts, maybe some false hits of happiness. Victim consciousness keeps you in a state of survival. And guess what, Queen? If you are in a state of survival, where are you not? You are not in a state of creation. What? A state of creation lives in wholeness consciousness, which is 5th dimensional consciousness. When you realize you are already whole, and you choose growth, not because you're trying to fix a deficit, but because you know that it is your purpose as a spiritual, energetic being who's here having a human experience in this human form, in this meat suit. You know the success is based on your commitment to internal growth. So you live it. You live it. You don't dabble in it. You're not half pregnant with it. You're not like carrying on. And then when something goes wrong outside of you, you're hemorrhaging and you're grabbing your affirmations and your breath work. Okay? It's fun. It's curious. It's compassionate. It feels light, even when it comes to trauma. Wholeness consciousness is how we build the new world. It's what we're here for. It's how we change what's being dripped into our children. It's how you shift paradigms. It's how you raise the collective consciousness and create the ripple effect that we need and deserve. You're here because you're in for this. I know it. So let me give it to you in a simple way to see this. Victim consciousness sounds like, I need to keep working on myself. I'm working on that. I got to keep working on that. Wholeness consciousness sounds like, I'm a highly conscious woman who chooses to evolve. That's it. Do you feel, and can you be with me in the difference of that? Okay. Victim consciousness. I'm working on that. I know I need to work on that, right? You're constantly in the gap of haven't worked far enough because you're working on yourself. I mean, the words working on yourself inherently direct your psyche to perceive there's something wrong because you're working on it, right? The association of the word work is really fucking limited. So victim consciousness is, I need to keep working on myself. Oh yeah, I got to work on that. Notice your body as I'm just going through this little piece right here. Wholeness consciousness. I'm a highly conscious woman who chooses to evolve. Oh, that's interesting. That trigger just came up and it's something that I, had processed a little while ago and it's still there. Amazing. A highly conscious woman who's choosing evolution understands that everything that presents is like the workshop to answer the objective of your soul. It's not about any of the shit you think it's about. That's all victim consciousness. That's all low-level shit. Everything that presents in this spiritual, energetic being having a human experience is the workshop of your soul. It is what you are here to learn, experience, process, witness, be with, right? All of it is a gift and an opportunity for you to honor your divine moral responsibility of choosing to grow. Okay? I know you are with me right now. We are here in the consciousness revolution. And the School of Becoming is leading the charge, and I couldn't be more proud. Stop looking outside, Queen. The answers do not live there. When you close your eyes, breathe, and go within, that's where the truth lives. Until next time, remember, there's always more love.